Many people think it's too early for Khamzat Chimaev to fight such a powerful Brazilian fighter as Gilbert Burns, who fought Kamaru Usman for the welterweight title just a year ago. Yes, then he failed to win, but he retains championship ambitions. Out of the last 8 fights, he's only lost once. Does Khamzat deserve the level of hype that has risen around him? He gained a significant part of the hype with quick and beautiful victories, and the fact that even top fighters didn't want to fight him. The word afraid is not quite appropriate here. For those who refused to fight Chimaev, the benefits of a possible victory did not outweigh the risk of loss of reputation in the event of a defeat, and Khamzat masterfully used it, making fun of even UFC stars, which his fans really liked. He even called out Daniel Cormier.
Khamzat Chimaev, no disrespect to the beautiful people of Sweden, Alexander Gustafsson gave me one of my hardest fights of all time, but Khamzat, let me say this to you, my friend. You got skills, Khamzat. I love you, my friend, but fall back. You don't want the smoke. You don't want all of this smoke. I mean, look at the champ. Look at the champ. You don't want this smoke. Khamzat, fall back. You were good calling out Brock Lesnar and George St. Pierre. You don't want the smoke.
But Burns calculated all the pros and cons, after which he decided that he was ready for battle. And this is not the best news for the Chechen, who has lost the status of having everyone being afraid of him. Chimaev is a very high-level fighter with a whole range of skills, but whatever one may say, he really has not yet met with the leaders of the division. Khamzat's experience is limited to 10 fights in professional MMA, and in the best promotion in the world, he fought only 4 times. But Burns' baggage looks much more serious, given that he's been performing in the UFC for 8 years. It's clear that due to experience alone, fights are not won, but it's a very important factor. Yes, the Brazilian is on the second line, but if you look at the top 5 of the welterweight division, it turns out that he's not beaten any other top 5 fighter. All of Burns' recent victories are over fighters at the end of their careers. He beat Mayer, Woodley, and Thompson. The first 2 have already completed their MMA careers. The third has dropped out of the title race. Until 2019, Gilbert fought at lightweight and didn't claim anything, but moving up the division helped him a lot, and yet it's been hard to forget the terrible defeat from Dan Hooker in the summer of 2018. The New Zealander returned from featherweight a year earlier, but looked more powerful than the recent welterweight. Hooker knocked out Burns in the middle of the first round. Hooker, who was strangled by Makhachev in the first round. What will Chimaev, sparring with weights, do with the Brazilian if his jaw could not withstand the blows of a featherweight? You may recall that Burns knocked down Usman himself, but I have doubts that Chimaev will box on his feet with the Brazilian at all. I think in this fight, Chimaev does not need to prove himself spectacular, as he probably will take his opponent down. For Khamzat, Burns must be crushed as in the case of Ying Liang. Someone will say, the way Michael Bisping says, that if Khamzat puts Gilbert on the ground, he will play the Gilbert play.
Do you want to take Gilbert Burns down? Do you want to take a guy that's one of the best in the world at jiu-jitsu, a former world champion, a guy that if you go down to the ground, you're now playing his game? Gilbert is the real deal, and the reason people are saying that this is going to be a tough test for Khamzat Chimaev is because Khamzat's a great wrestler. He's a great stand-up guy, actually. I'm hearing stories that this guy's just great everywhere. But typically a great wrestler doesn't want to go on the ground with a guy like Gilbert Burns, who's one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners that we have in the UFC, because it wouldn't be a good idea. So it's going to be really intriguing to see the matchup, to see the approach, that a guy like Khamzat is going to use. Smart thinking would say that he's going to, because he's the taller guy, he's the longer guy, that Khamzat's going to go out there and use the striking like he did against Gerald Mearchart. But I don't know if he is going to do that. I think he might do that. It is an MMA fight, but he's going to go out there, and I think he's just going to not give him any respect. Now, I'm not saying that that's how the fight's going to go down. You know, Gilbert Burns ain't no walk in the park. Gilbert Burns ain't no slouch. He's got knockout power. He's very experienced. He's one of the best. He's highly ranked.
But Gilbert is unlikely to be helped by high BJJ skills. The same fight with Usman went completely without ground grappling, and Burns did not shoot for his legs at all, probably because he realized that with Kamaru he would not survive. It's not clear how the Brazilian is going to compete with Chimaev. Burns will probably choose the same tactics as with the Nigerian, and Chimaev is the one who will take the initiative into his own hands.
I think he's very long, and he used that very, very good. He combined that the wrestling, the takedowns with the advancing position. He does a good job. His arms are very long. He does a good job with Dars and Anaconda. He get those chokes very good. A good control on the top. He gets the back very good. He has a good, very easy, takes the back, controlling with the long legs. We're gonna test him on bottom. We're gonna test a little bit more defense. We're gonna test getting up a couple times. A lot of things that I want to see. If he does have the answer, like on the grappling aspect, getting up, getting out of balance, getting, attacks from different angles, from neck, arm bars, triangle, leg locks, sweeps, get ups. I want to. Especially when you face a guy that's able to mix all of that. It's not just a sweep. It's a sweep. If it's not working, he's getting underneath. If it's not working, then we go into a leg. If it's not working, we push it. We get up. I want to see when the guy combine all that, how he can answer. One of the things that we have when you take the guy down, as a grappler, as a wrestler, sometimes you just want to hold control first, but then apply damage. But they do a very good thing, controlling the hips, controlling the legs. Then you don't have legs, you don't have your hips. Those are your big muscles right here. Whenever they control them, it's easy to do a ground and pound. I think they developed that system so good, and we didn't pay attention too much. I mean, we did, but a couple Russians are not that good, but we got a couple Russians like Khabib, a couple Dagestani, like Islam Makhachev, and a couple other guys, they do very good, but it's very simple they do, and then for me, the difference was the amount of energy. They don't spend a lot of energy, they're very small.
Let's assume that Khamzat loses. Most of his fans will immediately forget about his dominant fights, his appearances on short notice, and all his brilliant performances in the UFC where he didn't even get hit. If Burns wins, he won't pull a title fight with Usman, and Chimaev will return, hold a maximum of 2 to 3 fights, and get the title fight and become champion. He even turned to UFC head Dana White, asking him to arrange 2 fights for him at once in one night. Chimaev stressed that he was not joking, but no one doubted this, or was repeatedly convinced that he was ready for any challenge. The question: will Khamzat have enough strength for 2 fights in a night, even if Dana White allows him such an experiment? How? Once upon a time, at the first tournaments, fighters could fight 3 fights a day and remain in the cage, even receiving severe injuries. As the first Russian champion in the UFC, Russian bear Oleg Taktarov, when he fought 2 times in one evening and in the 3rd battle. In the final, Taktarov was waiting for the most dangerous opponent of all possible, a huge David Abbott, known by the nickname Tank. At 18 minutes, in the hardest fight, Taktarov caught Abbott and choked him out. Would Chimaev manage to hold at least 2 fights in an evening at the present time? This is the big question. For me, Khamzat's character is beyond doubt. I'm sure that he would have fought with pleasure if Dana had given him such an opportunity, but now the sport has become completely different. The opponents are much better prepared, and a variety of performance-enhancing drugs that could add endurance have long been banned. Let the octagon tournaments remain in the bright but long-gone martial arts past. Now fights are held every week. There's definitely no shortage of fights among the audience, and the UFC does not need such crazy fights. So Khamzat needs to win this difficult fight with Gilbert, so that in the next fight he'll throw the king off the throne of the welterweight division, Kamaru Usman. It's more correct to say, to try and unseat welterweight king Kamaru Usman. One thing I know for sure, we, the fans of this beautiful sport of the UFC, are waiting for the crazy evening, and in the end, may the best man win. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.